All right, welcome to Strickland's and Friends, and we are making cornbread muffins.
So this is actually inspired by one of my patients. I was trying to talk up a plant-based diet with him, and he asked, well, are buttermilk cornbread okay? And it's like, well, no, not really. And but my wife's cornbread is. But that's about all I knew about my wife's cornbread. So I'm
Okay. So
going to learn some more about it.
Well, and we're having it with the leftovers right here of the black-eyed pea collard green soup that we made a couple days ago on Chef AJ's show. And so we have leftovers. And I thought, ooh, cornbread sounds like it would be really good with that leftover soup because it's a yucky rainy day outside. So here we go. So I have a cornbread muffin recipe that I've been wanting to play with a little bit and see if I could make it a little bit healthier. And so the original recipe that I have called for a few tablespoons of coconut oil is what it really called for, and I'm definitely not using that. So
why not coconut oil?
It's just basically straight up saturated fat, and how
do you know?
Says it on the side of the bottle, on the side of the coconut.
But to me, also know because at room temperature it becomes solid.
Right.
And that generally means it's a saturated fat.
We live in the South, so sometimes at room temperature it's very liquidy.
Yeah. But during the winter at room temperature.
And during the winter at room temperature it is quite solid. So I've been trying to figure out ways to change it up, still make it have that good rich mouth feel and not have all the fat. So I am substituting a plant-based sour cream and just a couple tablespoons of it and some applesauce. So we'll see how it goes. We're going to give it a try here. So we're going to start with 1 cup of unsweetened almond milk, and I have 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. And why, you might ask, apple cider vinegar into the almond milk?
Because to make it like buttermilk?
We're making it like buttermilk.
Cool.
Exactly. So, and actually, it really works better with soy milk than it does with almond milk, but whatever. I didn't feel like going to the store to get soy milk because it's rainy and cold outside, so I'm not doing that.
Yeah, you said, so it's one of the plant-based milks. Does it matter if it's like the full-fat, vanilla-flavored?
Oh, you don't want to use a vanilla-flavored in your corn muffins because vanilla corn muffins would be...
But then without the vanilla-flavored, you've got an option between unsweetened or original flavor.
Right.
And you've got... I think you can be low-fat or high-fat with it, right?
I've never seen low-fat almond milk before. I've just seen almond milk. So I'm just using unsweetened because I don't really want to make them sweet or vanilla-flavored corn muffins.
Okay.
So, yeah, so we're just going to let that sit aside for a little bit, and hopefully it'll curdle a little bit. Like I said, soy milk works a lot better when it comes to adding apple cider vinegar and curdling it, but I just didn't feel like going out there to the store because it's cold and wet.
I think this will be good.
It'll be fine. Okay, so I've already got the oven preheating to 350. And so I've mixed the soy milk and the apple cider vinegar, the almond milk and the apple cider vinegar, and I'm adding 1 1/3 cups cornmeal to my bowl. And I want to point out about the cornmeal, it looks like you can almost see there's like a line in it where there's 2 different kinds of things in here. I ran out of cornmeal, and so I actually took grits and put it in my blender for a little bit and blended it up until it has the consistency now of cornmeal. So I made cornmeal out of grits. So cool. So it's 1 1/3 cups of coarsely ground cornmeal, 2/3 of a cup of whole wheat pastry flour. You could use a gluten-free flour blend if you would prefer, if you have celiac disease. So put in 2/3 of a cup. And then we have 2 tablespoons of the original recipe called for just straight up sugar. I don't usually use sugar. This is sucanat, which is dehydrated cane juice. You can buy it at, I know Whole Foods has it. You can probably buy it on Amazon. I'm not sure if other grocery stores have that. I've never looked at another grocery store to find it before. And then I have a 4 teaspoon of salt, iodized sea salt. I have 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. So we'll get that all mixed up. Okay, so that's all the dry ingredients. And then with the wet ingredients, I have 2 tablespoons of applesauce, and it's just unsweetened organic applesauce. You could make your own applesauce, you could buy it, but it's just 2 tablespoons. Get that dumped in there.
And that's substituting for some oil.
For some oil. And
how do you know when applesauce is a good substitute for oil? It's not always, is it?
It works pretty well in a lot of things. It works really well in cookies. You know those peanut butter oatmeal chocolate chip cookies I make?
Well, yeah, I know about those.
Of course you do. I put in applesauce instead of oil in those too. So a couple tablespoons of it. All right, applesauce is good because apples have pectin and it helps thicken things. Which makes me think I could use persimmons in this too. I don't need to put persimmons in everything, like literally everything, but okay. There we go. And then I'm going to add that almond milk, which really didn't curdle very much, but whatever. We'll see if it works. Okay. It's funny when you use soy milk, it really curdles up a lot, but
if you wanted more curdle, could you add more vinegar?
Probably not. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's I think there's sort of a diminishing returns kind of idea there where after a while it's just going to taste like vinegar. So, and we don't want this to really taste like vinegar. We want it to taste like cornbread. And then that's all mixed up. And the last thing we're adding is 1 cup of, I just have frozen corn kernels. This is Whole Foods, already fire roasted. So you can see some of the dark spots in there. So we'll just add a cup of frozen, thawed. They've been thawed, so I just stuck them in the microwave for a minute and thawed them. And then we'll get that all mixed up.
Literally a minute?
It was probably a minute at like half power. And then I flipped them around a little bit because they were still sort of frozen in the middle, and tossed them around and then did another minute at 50% power. So, because I don't really want to like cook them, I just want to thaw them. All right, so we'll get that loaded into the...
You'd chop up some jalapenos and have them in there, couldn't you?
Sure. Do you have a jalapeno?
No.
I don't think so.
The plants are finally frozen out.
The baking soda has reacted with the apple cider vinegar that was in the almond milk, and it's kind of gotten fluffy and airy. So that's a good thing. And then we'll put this in the oven for about 18 to 22 minutes. Check it with the toothpick, make sure it's not like really, really wet. And then when you take them out, they should have risen nicely and not have any wetness still on the inside. So there you go.
Oh, awesome.
In the oven.
Here we go.
18 to 22 minutes. And check it with the toothpick. Make sure the toothpick comes out clean. And if there's still some moisture on the toothpick, just put it back in for a couple more minutes. So we'll see when they come out.
So it had 20 minutes in the oven on 350.
20 minutes in the oven, and I put a toothpick in, and it came out dry. So
and we also let them cool for 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes, and then I flipped them. So I just kind of left them in the pan, but like flipped them sideways.
At what point did you do that?
Oh.
As soon as they came out?
No, I waited about 5 minutes.
Okay,
So,
and then you cooled them. Okay.
And then I flipped them into
okay.
the pan just to kind of cool them on the bottoms a little bit. So, and I wanted to point out that replacing the oil, I used applesauce, but I also used this, it's Forager organic dairy-free sour cream. So you could use any other kind of dairy-free sour cream, but I just happened to have this in the fridge, and I thought I would try it instead of oil. So we're going to try and see if they're any good.
It says right on the top, plant-based.
Plant-based, organic plant-based creamery.
So this is our cornbread.
That's our cornbread. Go. What do you think? Good?
That's really good.
Good.
You could do anything with that.
Okay, so we're going to have it with soup.
This is going to be a good meal.
Definitely. Alrighty, let's eat. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Click at the top for videos that we have found to be very important.
Click at the bottom right to see one of our featured videos.
Please subscribe to our channel by clicking our icon at the center of the screen.
And turn on notifications so that you can get our videos when the fruits and vegetables featured in that video are in season and at their best.
See you next time.